Yes, hello everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening everyone. So everyone please confirm in the chat box, but am I audible, am I visible clearly to all of you? Audio video is clear to everyone. Please confirm in the chat box. Everyone please confirm, beta, am I audible, am I visible clearly to all of you? Everything is clear, very good. So how are you all? How are you all? How are you all? So I hope you all are good and preparing well for our exam. And yesterday we have completed our very important topic, that was the leveling. So we have discussed all the aspects of the plane leveling, and we have also completed our discussion for the geodetic leveling in the last class. And now we will discuss some relatable topic, because as we are now familiar how we can perform the vertical distance measurement, how we can find out the reduced level of any point. Some important points I want to repeat again. Whenever I am using the term reduced level, what will be the reference for the measurement? Whenever I am using the term reduced level in the case of vertical distance measurement, what will be your reference for the measurement? Yes, absolutely. The reference is going to be mean sea level. And whenever I am using the term absolute level of any point, when I will use the term absolute level of any point, then the reference will, then the reference will, in the case of absolute level, the reference is going to be the center of the earth. So do not get confused. Okay. So I think the discussion about the plane leveling and the geodetic leveling. In the geodetic leveling, we have discussed. In the last class, I have provided you an assignment. In the last class, I have provided you a question that you need to solve with the rise and fall method. I hope you all have must tried that question. Have you solved that question? The same question we have solved in the class with the help of the HI method. Same question we have covered, we have discussed in the class with the help of the HI method, and the same question I have provided you to solve from the rise and fall method. So have you tried that? Yes, very good. So Ria, have you got all the answers? Good evening, good evening, good evening. So have you got all the options, answers? Because all RL already we have calculated. RL already we have calculated with the help of the HI method. So whatever calculations you have performed, you can also cross check. Whatever calculations you have performed in the case of rise and fall method, you must have cross checked. Yes or no? Because we have arithmetical check. What was the arithmetical check in the case of? What was the arithmetical check in the case of rise and fall method? If I talk about the arithmetical check of the rise and fall method, so the arithmetical check will be equal to algebraic summation of all the back side minus algebraic summation of all the four side, should be equal to algebraic summation of rise minus algebraic summation of fall, and it should be equal to the RL of the last point minus the RL of the first point. Last RL minus first RL. Last RL minus first RL. Yes or no? So this was the check, and you must have got the algebraic summation of all the rise. How can we find out the collimation error of a faulty instrument? To find out the collimation error, you should know Collimination error may be positive, collimination error may be negative. Yes or no? So by finding the combined correction, you can find out the error due to the curvature, you can find out the error due to the refraction, and whatever measured value you are getting after applying the correction, you should get the correct reading. And when you are not getting the correct reading, in that case, that means there is a collimination error. Yes or no? That means there is a collimination error. So whatever true value is there, whatever measured value is there, with the help of, with the basic concept of the error, you can also find out the collimination error. So in your DPP, you must have seen a question related to the collimination error. So I have provided you a question related to the collimination error. How we can find out the collimination error in the case of reciprocal leveling, that I am discussing, because the curvature correction and refraction correction is not required. Yes or no? You can find out the collimination error. Let's understand this point. There is a difference, Swati. When you are applying the reciprocal leveling, there will be no error. If the instrument is faulty, let's say our instrument is faulty. Let's say our instrument is having the collimination error. That means the line of sight is not perfectly horizontal. So if we will go for the any other method of the leveling, so to get the correct reading, we need to apply the correction for the collimination error. These are the two separate things. What we have discussed, when we are applying the concept of the reciprocal leveling, there will be no term related to the collimination error also. So if you are using the faulty instrument in the case of reciprocal leveling, it will cancel the effect, because we are taking the reading from both the stations. Because we are taking the observations from both the stations, so due to that steps and that process of the reciprocal leveling, that error of the collimination will be eliminated. So you need not to apply the correction separately. That was the point. That was the advantage of the reciprocal leveling. That was the advantage of the reciprocal leveling. I hope now you got the point. And any individual error we can find out with the help of that basic concept. Error will be equal to measured value minus true value. Okay. Again I am repeating, Swati, listen carefully. I think now you are familiar what do you mean by the collimination error? We have already discussed, I have explained about the collimination error. That point is clear to everyone? That point is clear, yes or no? That point is clear. Okay. So let's say this was the situation, this was the point A and this was the point B. So we have taken 4 readings. When we have placed the instrument near A, we have taken HA and HB. Let's say these readings are having the error due to the collimination. Let's say these readings are having the error due to the collimination. No problem with that. These readings are having the effect of the curvature and effect of the refraction also. These readings are having the effect of the curvature, and let's say, so this is your instrument and this is the staff. Let's say this should be the perfect line of sight. Yes or no? In this case you can say the line of sight is horizontal. Yes or no? But let's say due to the error due to the collimination, this is the position, this is the theta. So how you can, this is the distance between the instrument and the staff, and this is the error due to the collimination. So can I write theta will be equal to ECL by D? Can I write like this? Yes or no? Can I write like this? This was the actual position of the line of sight, but it should be the horizontal position. So this is the error that is due to the collimination. So this is the ECL. If this angle is the theta, distance between the staff and the instrument is D. So can we find out the error due to the collimination from here? ECL will be equal to D into, you can say theta or tan theta. Yes or no? But what was the advantage of using the reciprocal leveling? As there was no correction required for the curvature, there was no correction required for the refraction. whatever error was there, whatever error was there in these measurements due to the curvature, refraction and collimation, whatever errors will be there in these readings due to the curvature, refraction and collimation, curvature, refraction and collimation. So let's say this point is to already clear कि curvature correction and refraction correction is not required. So let's say our instrument is having faulty situation like this. Let's say here, from here we are taking +2 error. Let's say, for example, at this station the error due to the collimation is ECL. When the same instrument you will use from the station B, here you will get ECL will be equal to -2. Yes or no? We are using the same instrument from station A and station B. We are using the same instrument from station A and from station B. So if from the station A we are committing the positive error in the staff reading, when we will use the same instrument from the station B, then there will be the negative error. Yes or no? Then there will be the negative error. So ultimately they will cancel the effect of each other. In this process, when we are considering both the readings for the calculation of the elevation difference between the point A and B, they will cancel the effect of each other. That's why we were saying in the case of reciprocal leveling, error due to the collimation will be eliminated. There will be no need to apply the separate correction for the collimation error. Now I think the point is clear to everyone. If from station A we are committing a positive error and from the station B we are committing the negative error of same magnitude, ultimately the effect, the resultant effect is going to be 0. The resultant error will be equal to 0. Yes or no? Yes or no? So now I think the discussion is clear to everyone. So now can we move further? Okay, very good. Now can we move further? So now we are comfortable. Now we have discussed about the vertical distance measurement. Now we are going to discuss some related topic related to the vertical distance measurement, related to the leveling. These topics are not very frequent and important in your GATE exam. Listen carefully. So while discussing any topic, I am also providing you the importance of that topic from your exam point of view. Like last topic that we have covered, that was the leveling. So leveling is important for your all the technical exam. Whenever there will be a survey in your syllabus, then you can expect a question from the leveling. So that's why we have covered all the aspects of the leveling in detail. Yes or no? But now we are going to discuss some related topics. Sometimes you can get the question. Generally you will not get frequent question from these topics, but in your GATE exam. But if I talk about the other exam like ESC, Engineering Services exam, State AE exam and JE exam, so you will get sufficient question from these topics. So from that point of view, I am also covering that chapters. It will be fine? Yes or no? It will be fine, yes or no? So the topic is contour. The topic is contour. Now let's understand about the contour, and let's understand all the basic discussion related to the contour, and we will also see how they are asking the question, how they are asking the question from these particular chapter in the different exam. So this is going to be the discussion for this class. Similarly, we will discuss one more topic that is also related to the leveling, that is the trigonometrical leveling, and that topic is important from your GATE exam point of view. So that will be the discussion for the next class. So these are the two topics we are going to discuss today. In this class we will talk about the contour. In the next class we will talk about the trigonometrical leveling. These are very small and easy topics. You all can understand very easily, and we will also discuss how they are asking the question. So now I think the discussion till now is clear to everyone. So can I assume, can I expect that the discussion of the leveling is clear to everyone? So mark your answer in the poll, yes or no. So mark your answer in the poll. So we will also use poll features. So just today itself before the class, I have understood the concept, how we can create the poll. So we will also use this feature to make your learning experience better and effective. I think the poll is visible to all of you on your screen. Just I'm just checking this feature. So Ria, you haven't received poll. What about Swati? What about Swati? No poll is there. Then what is the issue? It's not working. It's not working. No issue, we will use in future. Don't worry. No issue. So that we will use again. Okay. So, so now we are going to discuss about the topic, that is the contour. So in the contour, first we will discuss introductory part of the contour, use of the contour. We will talk about some important terminology like contour interval, horizontal equivalence, and at the last we will talk about the characteristics of the contour. Methods we are not going to discuss. We will have little bit discussion about the methods, but these are the important topic. You need to, I am selecting, but that is not getting select. Time is by default already set as 30 seconds. Now please check. No issue, we will see again, don't worry. We will see, we will use this feature, don't worry. Okay. So, what are the topics that we are going to cover in this class? First topic is going to be the introductory part of the contours. Then we will see the use of the contour or the contour map. Then we will discuss some important terminology like contour interval, horizontal equivalence, and characteristics of the contour. Let's say if I am talking about any map. Let's say in general I am talking about the any map. So I hope you all will agree that map is a 2D feature, yes or no? Whenever you will see any map, whenever you will see any map, that map will be in 2D, two dimensions, yes or no? So whatever detail you have plotted on this map, so we will not get any idea related to the elevation or the height. We will not get any idea related to the elevation or the height, because this is the 2D, only x, y dimension will be there. There will be no third dimension that we can represent on the map. So let's say now if I want to prepare a map like this in 2D itself, now I want to prepare a map like this, from which map we should have also clear understanding about the elevations. In general, in the 2D map, there will be no term related to the elevation or the height. But yes, this is the advantage, that if we talk about the contour map, so with the help of the contour map, we will also get the understanding about the elevation or the RL. We can also get the RL of the points. If I talk about, if I'm talking about any ground or terrain or field, so if for that field we are having the contour map, just by observing that map, we will get the understanding about the topography of that field. So let's see. So for example, this is the contour map. This is the contour map that we have prepared on a paper. This is the contour map that we have prepared on the paper. Just by observing this contour, are you getting any idea about the elevation? As of now, because we have not discussed anything related to the contour now, but in general I am saying this is the contour map. So you may ask, sir, how we will get the information about the elevation? How we will get the elevation from this map? Yes or no? That you can ask. That you can ask. So are you getting? First, tell me. Are you getting the detail of the elevation or the reduced level, or for which ground, for this field, which field we have prepared this map? Are you getting any idea? Where the level will more, where the level will low? Any detail like this are you getting from this map? Any detail that you are getting from this map about the elevation? 8400 elevation near lake. 8400 elevation near lake. Yes. So for example, here the elevation given is 8400. Here the elevation you can see that is the 8400, and in this point the elevation is 8800, and this point the elevation is 9600, and again here the elevation is 9200. Yes or no? This elevation is mentioned here, that is 8400 at, let's say this is the point A, and at point the elevation B is at point B, the elevation is 8800. At point C the elevation is, let's say, 9600, and at point D the elevation is 9200. Let's say I have considered the 4 points A, B, C, D. Let's say I have considered the 4 point A, B, C, D. Listen carefully. Just by observing these value, I can understand what will be the ground profile. So this is 8400. Now the elevation is increasing to 8800. Now again the elevation is increasing to 9600 at point C. Then elevation is decreasing to 9200. This is going to be the profile. Something like this. If I want to understand about the profile, so this is going to be the profile. At point A the elevation is 8400. At point B the elevation is increased to 8800. At point C the elevation is increased to 9600, and at point D elevation is reduced to 9200. Yes or no? Slope is increasing to A to C, then again decreasing. Ria. Slope is increasing to A to C, then again the elevation is decreasing. Just by observing this contour, we are also getting the information about the elevation or the reduced level. This is the use of the contour map. When we will discuss some more characteristics, as of now we are talking roughly. What do you mean by the rolling terrain? So rolling terrain, plain terrain, mountainous terrain, steep terrain, that is classified in the case of roadway. So when we will talk about the transportation engineering, so for the construction point of view of the road, IRC, Indian Road Congress, has defined the terrain in 4 conditions, classified the terrain in 4 conditions as a plain terrain, rolling terrain, mountainous terrain, and steep terrain, based on the slope of the ground. Based on the slope of the ground. So if the ground slope is 0 to 10%, if the ground slope is 0 to 10%, that terrain, that field you can consider as a plain terrain. If the ground slope is 10 to 25%, you can consider as a rolling terrain. If the slope is in the range of 25 to 60%, you can consider as a mountainous terrain. And if the slope is greater than 60%, 60 degree, you can 60%, you can consider as the hilly terrain. Okay. So based on the ground slope, we have classified the different terrain in the case of roadways construction. So here the point I want to explain, just by observing this piece of paper, I will get, for example, this is your point E. So in both the axis, in x-axis as well as in the y-axis, you will get the overall idea how the profile of the ground like this. Yes or no? So if we want to get information about the topography of any field, so can we prepare the contour map for that? Can we prepare the contour map for that? Yes or no? Because here we are also talking about the reduced level or the elevation of the point. That's why I have used the term that these topics are related to the leveling itself. In the leveling, we have discussed how we can measure the RL. Now we are seeing the practical significance. Why we have measured the RL. Now we are seeing the application part. So contour is the application of the leveling work. Can we say like this? Contour is the application of the leveling work, yes or no? Contour is the application of the leveling work. So what is the objective? What is the objective of the contour survey? What is the objective of contour survey? To prepare the contour map. The main objective of the contour survey is to prepare the contour map. Yes or no? And in the contour survey, we need to perform which type of the measurement? In the case of chain survey, you have measured the horizontal distance. In the case of compass survey, you have measured the horizontal angle, or you can say the bearing. In the case of traverse survey, you have measured the bearing as well as you have measured the length. Yes. So for the contour survey, the vertical distance measurement is required. And how we can perform the vertical distance measurement? How we can perform the vertical distance measurement? So we can perform the vertical distance measurement with the help of the leveling. Yes, so that's why. Now I think these two topics are related. Yes or no? Now you can relate these two topics now. Leveling and the contouring. Okay, so now let's move further. So we have discussed about how we can define the contour. How we can define the contour. So contour are the imaginary line. Contours are the imaginary line which joins the points of having the same elevation or same RL. I'm again repeating. Contours are the imaginary line which are joining the points of having the same elevation or same reduced level. So practically these lines will not exist. These are the imaginary lines. For example, let us assume this is the floor of your room. This is the floor of your room. Obviously, you will say that the floor of the room is leveled. Your floor of the room will not like this, yes or no? Which condition? Which condition I can assume for the floor of your room? First or second? Which condition I should assume? If you observe the floor of your room, you will see generally it is leveled, yes or no? So now let's say we are having the staff and the level instrument. We are having the staff and the level instrument, and what we have done, we have located all the points. Let's say we are considering this as a reference, and we have measured all the points which are having the 1 meter elevation from this level. All these points are having the 1 meter elevation. All these points are having the 1 meter elevation from the floor. If I am going to connect all these points, can I say this? I am getting the contour of 1 meter. Can I say I will get the contour of 1 meter, yes or no? Or in other word, we can also say, if this is the contour of 1 meter, if this yellow line is the contour of 1 meter, any point that is lying on this line will have the elevation from the floor as 1 meter. Yes or no? Can we say like this? If this is the contour of 1 meter, all the points are lying on this line will have the elevation of 1 meter from the floor. So let's say I am considering this point. So this point will also have the elevation of 1 meter from the floor. If this is the contour of 1 meter, if this is the contour of 1 meter, yes or no? If this is a contour of 1 meter, I hope the definition of the contour is clear to everyone. So contours are the imaginary line which are joining the points of having the same reduced level, or you can say same elevation. Here we have not assumed the reference as the mean sea level. Here we have assumed the reference as the floor. That's why I am using the term elevation. If I am considering the reference as the mean sea level, I will use the term reduced level. So all the basic concepts of the leveling are still valid. So please confirm in the chat box the definition of the contour is clear to everyone. For example, now we have located all the points which are having the elevation of 2 meter. All the points which are having the elevation of 2 meter from this floor. If we connect all these points, so can I say I will get the contour of 2 meter? I will get the contour of 2 meter, yes or no? So how many contours lines we can visualize? How many contour lines we can visualize? Or we can imagine? Infinite, yes. You just changing the elevation. Now I want to get the contour of, let's say I will find out the all the points. Now what I will do, I will find out all the points which are having the elevation of 3 meter, from this floor. So now I will get the contour of 3 meter, yes or no? So what do you mean by the contour is clear to everyone? What do you mean by the contour is clear to everyone? Contours are the imaginary line which are joining the points of having equal elevation or same RL, equal RL, reduced level. I hope that I want confirmation from all of you. The basic definition of contour is clear to everyone. The basic definition of contour is clear to everyone. Can we move further? So now I will discuss about the two very important terminology related to the contour. Listen, and then we will see how we can prepare the contour map. As of now, we have not discussed anything from which you can prepare the contour map. But after completing those terminology, we will prepare the contour map in the class itself. Don't worry. In the class itself. So the first important term is the contour interval. So I have already discussed about the uses of the contour. Yes or no? So now we are going to discuss about this terminology, that is the contour interval. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. So just first understand what do you mean by the contour interval. So the vertical distance between the two consecutive contour. The vertical distance between the two consecutive contour is termed as the contour interval. Let's refer this example. In this example, you can say we are having 3 contour. So can you please tell me which contours are the consecutive contours? We are having 3 contours in this example. Can you tell me which contours are the consecutive contour? Yes. So if I talk about the consecutive contour, so contour 1 and 2 are the consecutive contour, and contour 2 and 3 are the consecutive contour. Contour 2 and 3 are the consecutive contour. So how we can define the contour interval? How we can define the contour interval? It is the vertical distance between the two consecutive contour. It is the vertical distance between the two consecutive contour. So let's say here we are getting the difference as 1 meter, and here also we are getting the difference as 1 meter. So can I say for this contouring work, the contour interval was 1 meter? Can I say like this now? For this example, the contour interval that we have considered, that was 1 meter. Any doubt to anyone? So it is the vertical distance between the two consecutive contour is known as the contour interval. Is known as the contour interval. Now let's move further. So generally contour intervals are taken to 1 to 15 meter. If I talk about the range of the contour interval, is this the fixed value? No. Who will decide the contour interval? Who will decide the contour interval? Tell me. Who will decide the value of the contour interval? Who will decide the value that what contour interval we are going to consider for the preparation of the map? Who will decide? Yes, you will decide. You will decide. The person who want to collect the information, the person who want to prepare the contour map will decide what will be the contour map. So on what factors it will depend? Tell me. On what factors the selection of the contour interval will depend? On what factors the selection of the contour interval will depend? So various factors are there. Like it will depend upon the available resources. For example, for a given field, I need to prepare for a given feature, I need to prepare the contour map in 1 day. And for the same feature, I have time of 10 days. In both the condition, when I have to complete the work in 1 day, so I cannot take many number of the readings. Yes or no? So in the first case, what I will do? When I am having the less time, I will take the contour interval more, so that we can finish our work in time. Yes or no? Because if we take the small contour interval, less contour interval, then the number of observations that we need to take for the preparation of the contour map will more. And for that we are not having the time. So if we are having the satisfactory time, then we can consider the small contour interval. So time, cost of the survey work, for taking more number of observations, more surveyors are required. For taking more number of observations, more surveyors are required, more time is required. Ultimately, it will increase your cost for the data collection. And the most important thing, what is the degree of accuracy and precision you want? How much detail you want to represent on the map? How detailed map you want to prepare? How detailed map you want to prepare? So when you will take the less contour interval, obviously the detail will be more. We can observe, we can collect the data minutely if we are considering the less contour interval. Yes or no? So it will depend upon the various factors. Yes. So what are the various factors? What is the scale of the map, purpose of the map, nature of the field or country, time and funds? Based on these factors, any individual can decide what will be the contour interval. What will be the contour interval? I hope the point is clear to everyone. I hope the point is clear to everyone. So as of now, what do you mean by the contour interval, and how we can define what are the various factors which are governing the value of the contour interval? What are the various factors which are governing the value of the contour interval? Let tell me a very basic and simple question. For any contour map, what is your recommendation? If I want to prepare a contour map, what is your suggestion? I should take the same contour interval for entire map, or for a single map I should take a variable contour interval. For a same map, for an individual map, I should take the same contour interval for the entire map, that is valid for entire map, or I can take the variable contour interval. Like in some part of the map, we have considered the contour interval as 15. In another part, we have considered the contour interval as 20. And in another part of that map, we have considered the contour interval as 25. So Ria is saying different. Why? Why you are saying, beta, that we should take the different contour interval on a same map? Why? Tell me. So this is the situation like this. We have discussed about the map and scale. We have discussed about the map and scale. So for example, I have prepared this map. 4 objects were there in the field. So let's say this is the small a, small b, small c and small d. Now what are you saying? Sir, for the same map, take the different scale. So for this reason, we have scale 1. For this region of this map, we are having the scale 2, like 1 centimeter is equal to 10 meter. Here we are saying 1 centimeter is equal to 20 meter, and here we are saying 1 centimeter is equal to 5 meter. That you are saying. Nature of the field can be highly varying in a small area. That is not any explanation. I think you didn't get my question. My question was very simple. For the preparation or a contour map, should I consider a constant contour interval or should I consider a variable contour interval? So to explain that point, I have taken one more example. We have discussed about the map and we have discussed about the scale. Let's say if you are preparing any map like this, which is having the variable scale, it is going to be very difficult for you to understand to extract the information from this map. So what was your general practice? For entire map, we have considered a single scale, yes or no? Then only we can relate the features, then only we can relate the information. Yes or no? Then only we can relate the information. Now I cannot relate because all these regions are having the different scale. So this is the general practice that for an entire map, a scale should be uniform, a scale should be same. It will help you. In this way, you can easily interpret the information from the map. Yes or no? In this way, you can easily interpret the information from the map. If we change the contour interval, how scale will change? This is the separate example, dear. I'm not talking about the contour map. Please listen carefully, dear. I've already mentioned, let's take an example that we have already discussed. I will relate this example with the help of the contour map, but as of now, I am talking about a simple map. As of now, I am talking about the simple map. So let's say, okay, so let's say in this contour map, for example, the difference between the two consecutive contour is, let's say, this is 10 meter. Let's say, for example, in this map, let's say the contour interval, whatever contour interval is considered for the preparation of this map, let's say that is the 10 meter. So between the two successive contour, what will be the vertical distance? If the contour interval is 10 meter, the answer is going to be 10 meter. Now I have considered this contour interval for the entire map. So in that case, it will be easy to get the information. But one more case is there. You are saying, sir, for this portion, this contour interval is 10 meter. For this portion, sir, the contour interval is 20 meter. And for this portion, this contour interval is going to be 30 meter. So now it will be little bit confusing, na? Now it will be little bit confusing when we will when we will extract the information from this contour interval, from this contour map, yes or no? So this is the example related to the contour, and that point I want to explain. For that I have taken a separate example of a simple map. So like in the map we were taking the same scale for the entire map. Similarly, for the same for a single contour map, we should consider the same contour interval. I hope now this point is clear to everyone. Now I think this point is clear to everyone, yes or no? Swati, have you got this point? Have you got this point? So contour interval, generally what will be the practice? Contour interval will be fixed, or you can say the constant for a map. The constant for a map. Now I want to define one more term. Now I want to define one more term, and that term is the horizontal equivalence. That term is the horizontal equivalence. So first try to understand what is this term horizontal equivalence. So how you can define the horizontal equivalence? So it is the horizontal distance. It is the horizontal distance between the two consecutive contour. Like the contour interval was the vertical distance. The contour interval was the vertical distance between the two consecutive contour. Similarly, the horizontal equivalence is the horizontal distance between the two consecutive contour. I am asking the same question. For the preparation of a map, for the preparation of a contour map, we should consider the horizontal equivalence as a constant value, or it should be variable value. Like you have just discussed, for contour interval, we will take same constant for entire map. Similarly, what about the horizontal equivalence? So when I will prepare the contour interval was the vertical distance between the two consecutive contour, and similarly horizontal equivalence is the horizontal distance between the two consecutive contour. It is the horizontal distance between the two consecutive contour. Tell me. So should I take fixed or constant value of the horizontal equivalence for the preparation of the contour map, or it can be variable value? It can vary, or it can vary. Ria is saying constant. What about Swati? As per the Ria, we should consider the constant or same horizontal equivalence for the entire map. What about Swati? Just try to think and try to answer. It can be variable. Why? So I'm asking the same question from both of you. So Ria is saying, sir, it should be constant. So my question from Ria is why, and Swati is saying that it should be, sir, variable. My question from Swati is why. Easy to read map. Okay. So it is going to be convenient. It is going to be convenient if we are considering the horizontal equivalence constant. Yes, that is your point. Okay, so I got the answer from Ria. What about Swati? What is your reason? You are saying the contour horizontal equivalence is variable, should be variable. may be variable. Why? Tell me, then I will explain, don't worry. Tell me whatever reason you are thinking, then I will explain, don't worry. It depends on the steepness. Very good. Here the answer of the Swati is absolutely correct. Here the answer of the Swati is absolutely correct. In actual practice, actually, it is not in our hand. It is not in our hand to make the horizontal equivalent constant or variable. That is not in our control. We can make the we have this control in the case of contour interval. We will select, we will decide कि what will be the contour interval that we have already discussed. But what is going to be the horizontal equivalence? What will be the horizontal distance between the two consecutive contour? That is not in your control. So who will control this? Who will control this? Who will control this? That what will be the value of the horizontal equivalence? Who will control this? Field slope, or we can simply say the feature itself. The feature itself is going to control. The feature itself is going to control the horizontal equivalence. Now let's take an example. Now let's take an example. For example, this is your ground, and we are having the some object or the some feature like this. Some object or the some feature like this. We can have, yes or no. Let's say this is your ground and we are having some object or some feature like this. Now for this feature, for this object, I want to prepare the contour map. Now for this object, for this feature, I want to prepare the contour map. So let's say I am considering this earth surface or the ground surface as a zero line, as a reference. Now what I will do, I will locate all the points. Now I will locate all the points. Let's say they are having the elevation of 5 meter. So with the help of the staff and level instrument, we can locate all the points which are having the elevation from this level as a 5 meter. Yes or no? Similarly, let's say we have also find a contour which are having the line of points of having the 10 meter. Yes or no? And similarly, let's say we are having one more contour. We are locating one more contour and that are having the points of, let's say, 15 meter. So here you can see, here you can clearly see in this survey work. Can you please tell me what will be the contour interval? For this survey work, what will be the contour interval? How we have defined the contour interval? So sir, it is the vertical distance. It is the vertical distance between the two consecutive contour, and for this work we have fixed the contour interval as 5 meter. Absolutely right. So in this survey work, our contour interval is 5 meter. Now let's try to draw the contour map. Now let's try to draw the contour map. So I will draw a contour map for you. Let's see. So for example, so can I locate this contour of 15 meter like this? This red one is the contour of 15 meter. Tell me. Now I can locate this contour of pink of having the elevation 10 meter, something like this. Now I can locate this yellow line on the map. Now I can locate this yellow line on the map, something like this. Yes or no? Similarly, at the end we can represent this green line. Similarly, at the end we can represent this green line, something like this. So I will get the contour map something like this, yes or no? This is going to be your contour map. This contour is having the value of 0. This contour is having the value of 5. This contour is having the value of 10. And this contour will have the value of 15. This is going to be your contour map, yes or no? So this was the feature, and for this feature you have prepared a contour map like this. So this is going to be your contour map, yes or no? Can we prepare the contour map like this? Tell me, can we prepare the contour map like this, yes or no? Yes, we can prepare. Just observe this contour map. So how you have defined the horizontal equivalence? How you have defined the horizontal equivalence? Sir, it is the horizontal distance between the two consecutive contour. As you can see, here this is the horizontal distance, here this is the horizontal distance, here this is the horizontal distance. Yes or no? But if I talk here, this is going to be the horizontal distance, here this will be the horizontal distance, here this will be the horizontal distance. Can you say for this map, you can see clearly now, for a single map, it is varying. Here the horizontal equivalence is less, here the horizontal equivalence is more. There is no fixed guarantee that the horizontal equivalence will be same for a map. The contour interval that we have fixed, that is the constant value having the 5 meter. So the horizontal equivalence, it may have same value, it may vary, it will totally depend upon the feature or the terrain or the ground for which you are preparing the map, for which you are preparing the contour map. It is not in your control to control the horizontal equivalence, to control the horizontal distance in the contouring. I hope now you got the clear understanding. So please confirm in the chat box. Now if you are having the clear understanding about the three terms, one is contour, second is contour interval, and third is the horizontal equivalent. Everyone confirm in the chat box. Everyone confirm in the chat box. And if anyone having any doubt, any query at any point, then you can also ask your doubt and query. You can also ask your doubts and queries if anyone having any doubt. I hope the entire discussion is clear to everyone. Okay, so now let's move to now we are going to see very important discussion, some important characteristics of the contour line. Because if we are having the understanding about the characteristics of the contour, then only we can read the contour map, we can understand the contour map. Yes or no? So we should know all the characteristics of the contour, then only we can easily interpret or we can easily extract the information from the contour map. Yes or no? If we don't know the characteristics of the contour lines, how we will get the information from the contour map? And from your any exam point of view, so if you will get the question related to the contour in your exam, that question you will get from the characteristics only. That this is the very vast chapter we are covering in a very short way from our exam point of view. In all the exam, you will get the question related to the characteristics of the contour only. So this is the very important discussion from this chapter. This is the very important discussion from this chapter now that we are going to discuss. Let's see one by one. if contours are parallel, if contours are parallel and the horizontal equivalence between them are also constant, then it represents the uniform slope. So this is the language, and I will also provide you the explanation. For example, this is the slope. For example, this is the slope. You can say this is the uniform slope. You can say this is the uniform slope, yes or no. So now let's try to draw the contour. Let's say contour interval is 5 meter. Let's say contour interval is 5 meter. So this is going to be your 0. Let's say this is the feature. This is the feature. So this is going to be the 0. Let's say this is the contour of 5 meter and this is the contour of 10 meter. This is the contour of 10 meter. Can you prepare the contour map for this? Can you prepare the contour map for this? Yes, sir, we can prepare very easily. So this is going to be the contour. This is going to be the contour of 0 meter. Sir, this is going to be the contour of, sir, this is going to be the contour of, this is going to be the contour of 5 meter. And this will be the contour of, this will be the contour of, you can say, sir, this is will be the contour of 10 meter. Yes or no? Now you can observe, are these lines are parallel to each other? Are these lines are parallel to each other? And I can see, I can say the horizontal equivalence between these lines are also same. Horizontal equivalence is same and all the contours lines are parallel to each other. So can I say it will represent the uniform slope? It will represent the uniform slope. Now do one more thing. Now let's prepare the contour map for this slope. Let's say this is the feature. Here you can say, here this slope is not uniform. Yes or no? Feature may have any shape, na? Feature may have any shape. Ground may have any slope. So if you will prepare the contour map, undoubtedly you can say, sir, here we will not get the contours lines are parallel and they are also having the constant horizontal equivalence. For this portion you will get the line parallel and horizontal equivalence will same. But for this portion you will get the line will not parallel to each other and the horizontal equivalent will also not same. So I hope the first characteristics of the contour is now clear to everyone. The first characteristics of the contour is now clear to everyone, yes or no? So if the contours are parallel and the horizontal equivalent between them are also constant, then it represents a uniform slope. See the next. Closely spaced contour represent steep slope and distant contour represent the mild slope. Let's see the explanation for this also. So for example, we are having two slopes. For example, we are having two slopes. One is the slope A and another is the slope B. Or you can understand with the help of this explanation. This is the example that we have considered. These two lines are having the slopes A and B. Which line is having the steep slope, A or B? Slope will be more in the case of line A or line B. Slope is going to be more for the line A as compared to the line B, that we can clearly say just by observing this figure, yes or no. So if you will see for the steep slope, the contours are close to each other. When you are drawing the contour for the mild slope, contours are having distant, yes or no. So if we are getting the contour close to each other, it will represent the steep slope. If we are getting the contours in greater distance, it will represent the relatively mild slope. Can we say like this? Yes or no? Slope means this angle theta. I am talking about this angle theta. So this is representing your steep slope. this is representing your steep slope, and B is relatively mild slope as compared to the A. B is relatively mild slope as compared to the A. So that we have already discussed. So you can use this diagram for the reference to understand the second property, or you can say the second characteristics. Please confirm in the chat box if these two characteristics are clear to everyone. If these two characteristics are clear to everyone, please confirm in the chat box. So now can we move further? Now let's see the third. A contour line is a closed curve. They may close either, they may represent either, they may represent, they may close on the map or outside the map. It depends upon the topography. So for example, in this contour map, we are not getting any line. Some lines are closed loops and some are the opens, but somewhere here they will also form a closed loop. Somewhere here it may be possible apart from the map, but at the end they will form a closed loop. Yes or no? So this was your third property. Equally spaced contour represent the uniform slope, and contours that are well apart represents the gentle slope that we have already discussed. That we have already discussed in the case of slope, in the case of uniform slope, in the case of steep slope, in the case of mild slope, what will be the characteristics of the contour that we have already covered. Now let's see the next discussion. Now let's see the next discussion. A set of closed contour. Listen, this is very important. A set of closed contour with higher figure inside and lower figure outside indicate a hill, whereas in the case of depression like lake or pond, the lower figure are inside and the higher figure are outside. So let's understand this point. So for example, I am taking two examples. Let's say this is your ground. Let's say this is your ground and there is a hill like this. This is the hill. And again, this is the ground. And there is a depressed body or pond like this. Pond like this. Now we are talking about the RL. Now we are talking about the RL. So let's say the RL of the ground is 100 meter. Let's say the RL of the ground is 100 meter. So here we have, here also the RL of the ground is 100 meter. When I'm talking the term RL, that means I'm measuring the distance from the mean sea level. Ria is saying buffering. Is there any audio video problem? Everyone, Pita, please do confirm. Audio video is clear to everyone. Ria, just refresh. There may be some connection issue from your side. Just refresh the page. And once the audio video is clear, confirm in the chat box. No buffering. Okay. So can we move further? Can we move further? So whenever I will use the term RL, that means I am measuring the vertical distance from the mean sea level. Let's say this was the ground level and the RL is having RL is 100 meter. So now what I am saying, let's say I am considering the contour interval of 10 meter. So this is going to be the contour of 110 and this is going to be the contour of, let's say, 120. Yes or no? Tell me. Similarly, if this is the, now we are moving below the ground. So this is going to be the RL. So this will be the contour of 90 and this will be the contour of 80. This will be the contour of 80. Because we are moving below the ground level, so RL will decrease. Yes or no? Here we are moving above the ground surface, so RL was increasing. So RL was increasing. So RL was increasing. Yes or no? So let's try to draw the contour map for both the example. So when I will draw the contour map for this, so I will get the contour map like this. So this is going to be the contour of 100 meter. Next, this will be the contour of, this will be the contour of, you can say 110 meter, and this yellow one will be the contour of, this yellow one will be the contour of, let's say this is going to be 120 meter. Yes or no? Similarly, when I will get the contour map for here, so you will get the contour of, so this is going to be the contour of 0, sorry 100. This is going to be the contour of, this is going to be the contour of 90, and this will be the contour of, this will be the contour of, you are going to say this is the contour of 80. We will get the contour map like this, yes or no? We will get the contour map like this, yes or no? Tell me in the chat box. We will get the contour map like this, yes or no? Tell me, dear. So now you can observe from in the example number A, in the case of hill, when we are getting the closed contour, we are getting the closed contour, and when we are moving inward, the values are increasing. Yes or no? And in the case of pond, when we are moving inward, the values are decreasing. The values are decreasing. 100, then 90, then 80. Here the values are 100, 110 and 120. So when we are moving in the inward direction, we can say the values are increasing in the case of hill, and the values are decreasing in the case of pond or the depression. Have you understood this point? Do you got the concept, yes or no? Do you got the concept, yes or no? Tell me in the chat box. So same point you have written. Same point you have written. A set of closed contours with higher figures inside. A set of closed contour with higher figure inside and the lower figure outside indicate a hill. Higher figure inside. Higher figure inside. Lower figure outside will represent the hill. Will represent the hill. Will represent the hill, and whereas in the case of depression like lake, the lower figures are inside and the higher figures are outside. Lower figures are inside and the higher figures are outside. So now this characteristics I hope is also clear to everyone. This characteristics is clear to everyone. This characteristics is clear to everyone, yes or no? Please confirm in the chat box. Please confirm in the chat box. Do you have any doubt? Whatever characteristics of the contour we have discussed till now, if anyone having any doubt, you can ask your doubt. If anyone having any doubt, any query, you can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. Clear to all? Okay. So now let's see the more discussion. The ridge line, the line joining the highest point of a series of hill and a valley line are going to intersect the contour at right angles. So let's understand this. Try to understand this characteristics. This is the very important. So for example, this is your hill 1, this is your hill 2, this is your hill 3, this is your hill 4. And if we are connecting all the tops, if we are connecting all the tops, so for example, for the hill 1, for the hill 2, this is your hill 1, this is your hill 1, this is your hill 2, this is your hill 3, and this is your hill 4. And if we are connecting these tops, all the top points of all the hills, so this line we will consider as the ridge line. So how you can define the ridge line? Ridge line will connect the top of all the hills. Ridge line will connect the top of the all the hills. Similarly, for hills, if we are connecting all the bottom points, for hills, if we are connecting all the bottom points, so this line will consider as the valley line. This line will consider as the valley line. So what is this characteristics? Ki whenever I will talk about the ridge line and valley line, it will always intersect the contour at an angle of 90 degree. So you need to remember this value. Ridge line and valley line will always intersect the contour at an angle of 90 degree. Ridge line and valley line and the contours will intersect at an angle of 90 degree. So here I have explained what is ridge line and what is valley line, and what will be the angle of the intersection between the ridge line and the contour and between the valley line and the contour, and that angle is going to be 90 degree. That angle is going to be 90 degree. So this is the characteristics. So in this way we have completed some basic characteristics of the contour. That we have already discussed. Close contour represent either hill or pond. Lake, I didn't understand. What is the doubt in the case of lake, you can ask. Any depressed body, how they will intersect at an angle of 90 degree. Okay, so let's say this is the ridge line. Just understand, this is the ridge line. Can you imagine? This is the ridge line, yes or no? Can you imagine? Can you imagine my hand as a ridge line? Can you imagine my hand as a ridge line? Yes or no? So let's say this is the contour of 10 meter, this is the contour of 20 meter, and this is the contour of 30 meter. What will be this angle? That intersection angle will be 90 degree. That we have discussed. The intersection angle between the ridge line and the contour line is going to be 90 degree. Now I think you got the point. So that characteristics we have already covered. Yes, that characteristics we have already covered. That the closed space contour will represent either hill or a pond. Closed space contour will represent either hill or a pond. So these are some basic characteristics of the contour from which you will get the direct question first of all. And these characteristics are important from your exam point of view as well as to get the information from the contour map. Two more, or you can say the most important characteristics are left. First, tell me, for example, if I am saying if there is a contour of 10 meter, and from the same reference we are also imagining a contour of 20 meter. For both the contour the reference is same. First try to understand. For both the contour we are using the same reference. So one contour we have located of 10 meter and another contour we have located of 20 meter. That is fine. We can locate infinite contour from a reference. So from the same reference, I have located a contour of 10 meter, and from that same reference, I have located a contour of 20 meter. I think there is no problem till now. I think there is no problem till now, yes or no? That we can do. Now listen carefully. Generally, these contours are having the different elevation, so do not intersect each other. If there are two contours having the different elevation from the same reference, yes, from the same reference, if we are locating, let's say from the same reference, we are locating the two contour 110 and 120. So can I say, generally these two contours which are having the different elevation cannot intersect each other? How it is possible? How it is possible? Let's say. So for example, this is the contour of 10 meter, and you are saying this is the contour of, you are also saying this is the contour of 15 meter. From same reference, I have located a contour of 10 meter. From that same reference, I have located a contour of 15 meter. I have located a contour of 15 meter. So, can we these two contour can intersect? Tell me yes or no. Can these two contours can intersect? Answer is going to be no. Because if these two contours are having the different values are intersecting, so what about this point X? This point X is lying on the 10 meter contour also. This point X is also lying on the 15 meter contour. X is the common point for both the contour, na? If these two contours are intersecting, the intersection point is going to be common for both the contour. And how it is possible that a same point is having the two elevation, is having the two vertical distances from the same reference? So you are saying like this, sir, let's say this is the reference. If this is the point X, so you are saying, sir, this point X may have the elevation of 10 meter, or this point X may have the elevation of 15 meter from the same reference. How it is possible? How it is possible? So ideally this contour, yes, this point may have elevation, any elevation. If we will change the reference, this elevation will also change. That we can understood. Yes or no? But if the reference is fixed, so it is not possible from the same reference a point should have two vertical distances. Yes or no? So two contours having the different values should not or cannot intersect. But I am mentioning a word generally. I am mentioning a word generally. So two contours having the different values should not join at a point, or you can say it should not intersect each other generally. But there are two important exceptions where you will see the contours of the different elevation will intersect each other, and the contour of the different point will join at a same point. There are two exceptions are there, and whenever there will be the exceptions, those exceptions are very important for us. Whenever there will be the exceptions, those exceptions are very important from our exam point of view. So what are these exceptions? Let's see. तो फर्स्ट एक्सेप्शंस की अगर मैं बात करूं, तो दिस इज द ओवरहैंगिंग क्लिफ. So what do you mean by this overhanging cliff? So especially in the case of hilly area, you must observe a feature. Here it is the road and this is the overhanging cliff. Are you able to visualize this overhanging cliff? Yes or no? This type of the feature is known as the overhanging cliff. First, try to understand about the feature, then we will talk about the property, don't worry. So are you able? This is the overhang portion of a hill. This is the overhang portion of a hill. So this feature we are naming as overhanging cliff. Are you able to visualize how the overhanging cliff will look like? Yes or no? And another exception is vertical cliff structure like this. So you can say this portion is having the vertical line like this. So these are the two exceptions. Now we will see what will happen in the case of overhanging cliff and in the case of vertical cliff. So let's see. So we will draw. We will draw the contour, don't worry. So let's say first I am talking about the overhanging cliff. Let's say first I am talking about the overhanging cliff. And second I am talking about the vertical cliff. So first I will talk about the overhanging cliff and then I will talk about the vertical cliff. The overhanging cliff was something like this. Overhanging cliff was structure something like this. We have just discussed, yes or no. Overhanging cliff was the structure something like this and the vertical cliff was having the structure something like this. Yes or no? Can we represent the overhanging cliff and the vertical cliff like this? Tell me in the chat box. Can we represent the overhanging cliff and the vertical cliff like this? Yes or no? Can we represent the overhanging cliff and the vertical cliff like this? Tell me. So this was your vertical cliff and this was your overhanging cliff. So I have represented with the help of this diagram. Can you draw the contour map for both the features? Can you draw the contour map for both the features? So let's say this I am considering as a 0. No problem. This I am considering as a 10-meter elevation. This I am considering as a 20-meter elevation. And this I am considering as a 30-meter elevation. Any problem to anyone? What will be the contour interval? What will be the contour interval? The contour interval is going to be 10. Similarly, here also. So let's say I am saying this is the 0 line. Then I am representing the contour of 10. Then I am representing the contour of 20. And then I am representing the contour of 30. Then I am representing the contour of 30 like this. So now can I draw the contour? Now can I draw the contour? Tell me dear. Now can I draw the contour? So first let's see. So let's say this is going to be the contour of 0. This is going to be the contour of 0. Yes or no? This is going to be the yes. That's why we are saying these are the exceptions. These are the exceptions. So generally contours, different contours should not intersect or should not join conceptually, logically. But there are two features, there are two exceptions when you will see they can join or they can intersect. Those exceptions we are discussing. So this is the contour of 10. Similarly, I can locate the contour, this is the contour of 0. Similarly, I can locate the contour of, this is going to be the contour of 10. Now what I want to do? I want to locate the contour of, I want to locate the contour of 20. So this is going to be the contour of 20. And now I want to locate the contour of 30. The contour of 30 will be something like this. So this is going to be the contour of 30. As you can see in this diagram, in the case of overhanging cliff, two contours having the different elevations are intersecting. Two contours having the different elevations are intersecting. Yes or no? So intersection of the different contour you will see in the case of overhanging cliff. Intersection of the different contours having the different value you will see in the case of overhanging cliff. Are you able to understand this point? Yes or no? Have you got this concept? Please tell me in the chat box, dear. Have you got this concept? Please tell me in the chat box. How the different contours are intersecting in the case of overhanging cliff. I hope you all got this point. Yes or no? Clear. Now we will see the example of the vertical cliff. So let's say I am trying to draw the contour map for this feature. So this is going to be the contour of 0. This is going to be the contour of 0. This green one is going to be the contour of 10, and this yellow one is going to be the contour of 20, and this one is going to be the contour of 30. This one is going to be the contour of 30. Yes or no? Now what you are observing? All the different contours are meeting at a same point. All the different contours are joining on a same point. All the contours joins at point A. Yes or no? And all the contours are having the different value. All the contours are having the different value. This is the situation that you will get in the case of vertical cliff. So these are the two exceptions. These are the two exceptions where you will see the contour can intersect each other or the contour can joins at a single point. So these were the important characteristics of the contour. I hope the entire discussion is clear to everyone. So the last topic of the contour is methods. So I am not going to cover this method in detail, but I will definitely tell you the basic of this method. Listen carefully. There are two types of the method for the contouring. One is direct method and another is indirect method. So let's try to understand. If we are locating all the points directly on the field, for example, I want to draw the contour of 5 meter. In that case, what I will do? So on that feature from the reference, I will locate all the points with the help of the staff which is having the elevation from the reference as 5 meter. So when I will get all the points having the elevation of 5 meter, and when I will connect all those points, I will get the contour of 5 meter. Yes or no? I will get the contour of 5 meter. So this is the direct measurement. In the field itself, I have located all the points and then I have prepared the contour. In the case of indirect method, we can use some techniques like interpolation. So for example, let us understand. For example, I am saying this is the point P having the contour of 50 meter. Listen carefully. This is the point Q having the contour of 60 meter, let's say. And this is the line PQ. And the distance between the, let's say, the point P and Q is 20 meter, let's say. The horizontal distance between the point P and Q is given as 20 meter. So now I want to know a contour of 54 meter. A contour of 54 meter will intersect at a distance of what? X. Or at a distance of X, what will be the elevation of the contour? Anything we can found with the help of the interpolation. We have located this 50 meter contour directly on the field. We have located this 60 meter contour directly on the field. But now I want to locate the position of this 54 meter contour. For that, what I will do, I am not going to perform the measurement. With the help of these two contours and the data, can we interpolate or locate this contour? Yes or no? Can we interpolate or locate this contour? Yes or no? And in this way, whatever contouring we are doing is known as the indirect method of the contouring. indirect method of the contouring. So if I talk about the method of the contouring, we can broadly classify it as the direct method or in the indirect method. In the direct method, we will locate all the points. Whatever contour you required, you have to locate all the points. Just join all those points, you will get that particular contour. In the case of indirect method, we will use some methods like interpolation to locate the contour without any direct measurement. Without any direct measurement. I hope the discussion about the methods of the contour is also clear to everyone. So in this way, we have completed our discussion for the contour. So let's summarize all the points. So in the contour survey, we have discussed about the contour, definition of the contour. We have discussed the concept of the contour interval. We have discussed the concept of the horizontal equivalence. Then we have discussed all the important characteristics of the contour. And at the last, we have discussed about the exceptions. We have discussed about the vertical cliff. We have discussed about the overhanging cliff. And the last topic was methods for the contouring. Indirect method. Indirect method, you are not locating any particular contour directly with the help of the measurements. Like in the case of we have discussed about the linear measurement. So there were also two methods, direct method of the measurement of the horizontal distance and indirect method of measuring the horizontal distance. So if you are counting your paces, the number of steps into distance covered in one step will be equal to the total distance. That was the indirect measurement. That was the indirect measurement. So we are applying the mathematical tools. We are calculating, we are not measuring the data, we are not collecting the data. With the help of the given contour, we can locate or interpolate the another contour. So we are not directly measuring the elevation of the point on the ground. In the case of indirect method. In the case of indirect method. Now I think the point is clear. So these type of the method for contouring are termed as the indirect method. If I want to compare, so obviously direct method will take more time, because in the case of direct method, you have to find out all the points, you have to locate all the, you have to calculate, you have to measure all the vertical distances. It will take lots of time, it will take lots of resources, but accuracy definitely is going to be more in the case of direct method, because you have calculated all the elevations directly. In the case of indirect method, time requirement will be less, resources requirement will be less, but obviously accuracy can compromise. Yes or no? So by plotting the contours on the graph paper, so let's say I have taken a graph, and on a graph I have located two contours. I can interpolate, I can graphically find out any other contour. Yes or no? So that is also an indirect method. That is also an indirect method. So now I hope the entire discussion related to the contouring is clear to everyone. So if anyone having any doubt, any query at any point, you can ask your doubt, you can ask your query. If anyone having any doubt at any point related to the contouring, you can ask your doubt. And if the entire discussion is clear to everyone, you can confirm in the chat box. We have completed this chapter. So if I talk about the chapter wise, so I think we have completed 6th chapter. The first was the fundamental of the surveying. Second chapter we have discussed, that was the linear measurement. Third was the compass surveying. Fourth, we have discussed about the traverse surveying. Fifth, we have discussed in detail about the labeling. And today we have completed our 6th chapter, that was the contouring. So in the next class, we will start our discussion about one more important topic, that is the trigonometrical labeling. That is very small topic that we will complete. So in this way, the entire topic of the labeling will get over in the today itself. Okay. Sir, can you tell me the important chapters in GATE to entire subjects? Definitely I will tell you. So I hope you have followed the first lecture. So in the first lecture, I have already provided you the detailed information about the GATE exam, about the syllabus. Yes. So if you miss that chapter lecture, you can follow all these chapters, because already we are discussing in a very effective way. We have very less time. Like we don't have any time problem, but we will cover the subject as per the weightage in the exam. For example, in the particular subject that we are getting in the exam of 2 to 3 marks, let's say, and for that we are covering the discussion of 200 hours, it is not going to be effective. Yes or no? So as per the importance of the topic, we are also allocating the time. Like the labeling was important, so we have discussed 2 days, 3 days in the case of labeling. The fundamental chapter was basic from exam point of view, so we have covered that chapter in a single day. Yes or no? So just to understand this point, how many question, which type of the question they are asking from the particular topic, it is very important to cover the PYQs. Daily I am mentioning this point. If you are not practicing the previous year question, you will not get the understanding, you will not get the clarity about the requirement of the exam. And once you don't know about the requirement of the exam, how you will prepare yourself accordingly. Yes, definitely. Yesterday I have already mentioned, it is very easy. You will get all the PYQs, chapter wise, subject wise, all the things are available. You just need to put some effort, you will get the all the things. So try to complete these 6 chapters if you have not completed yet. Start PYQ of GATE and DSC from the fundamental of surveying and complete till yes, all these chapters are important for your GATE exam. Yes. And you will get better understanding when you will practice the PYQs. You will get some more clarity when you will practice the PYQs. Any other doubt, any other query? Okay, so this was all about for this chapter. We will meet at 9:30. All these have equal weightage. Swati, have you attended the first class of this course? Have you attended the first class of this course? So nearly we have 14 or 15 chapters. Nearly we are having the 14 or 15 chapters in the surveying, and the weightage of your all the surveying as a subject in the surveying of surveying in your GATE exam is 4 to 5 marks. How all the topics can have the equal weightage? There are total 14 to 15 chapters, and the weightage of this subject in your GATE exam is 4 to 5. How all the topics can have the equal weightage? So sometimes they are asking the question from the compass surveying, sometimes they are asking the question from the labeling, sometimes they are asking the question from the photogrammetry survey, sometimes they are asking the question from the trigonometrical labeling. They will ask for 4 to 5 marks only in your GATE exam. So it is not necessary that you will get question from all the topics in a particular year. So now I think your doubt is clear, your query is clear, yes or no? Then which are we have to put focus regarding? All these are the topics that they are asking in your GATE exam. We are only discussing the important topic. You cannot skip any topic. You cannot skip any topic. The discussion will be related to the importance. From some topics you are getting the frequent question. From some topics you are getting the less question. Yes. Okay. Yes, sure. So we will meet at 9:30 p.m. and we will have the discussion for the trigonometrical labeling, and that will be the last topic of the labeling. So this was all about for this class. Thank you everyone. Keep learning. Thank you.